to order. Roll call.
Commissioner Capano? Commissioner Calucci? Commissioner Ellis? Commissioner Perudian?
Present.
And Commissioner Turnbull.
Present.
Councilor Ellis, present.
Calucci here? Nope. Minutes of previous meeting.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that if the minutes are found correct, that they be.
Second.
Do I hear a second on the motion?
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
We don't need a roll for that, do we? Comments.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. The purchasing department recently solicited bids for 30 fire hydrants and accessories. In response, 6 vendors submitted bids. 2 bids were rejected due to improper bid submission. 4 remaining bid prices ranged from the high of $52,792 to the low bid of $52,200 received from E.J. Prescott of Middleton, Mass., offering the American Down D84B. Low bid was also reviewed by Superintendent Samuelson, who was satisfied that the low bid meets some water and sewer commission specifications, is within cost estimates, and recommends contract award. I therefore recommend the commission award a contract for lowest responsive bidder, E.J. Prescott, for the specified fire hydrants and accessories as bid.
What's the wish of the board?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we go with the low bidder.
Second.
Motion made and seconded.
Commissioner Capano?
Yes.
Commissioner Calucci?
Yes.
Commissioner Ellis?
Yes.
Commissioner Perudian?
Yes.
Commissioner Turnbull.
Yes.
Okay, next bid, we recently solicited bids to furnish and deliver granular activated filter carbon for the water treatment plant's 3 filters. In response to bids we received from the high carbon activated Corp of New York, offering a price of $1.30 per pound, and the low bid was received from Calgon Carbon Corporation of Pittsburgh, PA, offering a price of $1.28 per pound, a decrease of 18 cents per pound from 2015. The awarded bidder will provide carbon for the water treatment plant's 3 carbon filters, which hold approximately 270 pounds of carbon, for a total bid price of $345,600. Calgon also offers an option year price in 2018 at $1.30 per pound. The low bid was also reviewed by Superintendent Dorr, who was satisfied that the price and the product offered meets Lynn water and sewer specifications, recommends contract award to Calgon pending test analysis results of the product. I therefore recommend the commission authorize the contract award for Calgon Carbon Corporation at the per pound price of $1.28 for 2017 as bid, along with the 2018 option year price after review of the July 2018 market conditions.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we go with the low bidder, Calgon.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing no discussion, roll call.
Commissioner Capano?
Yes.
Commissioner Calucci?
Yes.
Commissioner Ellis?
Yes.
Commissioner Perudian?
Yes.
Commissioner Turnbull.
Yes. Project update. Bob Tina?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. The wastewater treatment plant performed very well in August. We had about 15 MGD of flow, about a half-inch of rain. BOD, TSS removals were good. Garlic Farms was good. We did fine. 2 other things I just want to let the board know about. We're going to start slowly beginning the process of rebidding the wastewater treatment plant, because that's coming up in a few years. And also, we're going to be looking into the intermunicipal agreement, which is up in 2020 for the communities. So as we develop more, we'll keep everybody informed.
Okay. Any questions for Bob? Rick, water treatment plant update.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Lynn Water and Sewer Commission is in compliance with all federal and state drinking water regulations. The water supply capacity as of yesterday was 71%. The average for this time of year is 66%. And in this time last year, we were at 48%. 9 of the 10 positions at the water treatment plant are currently filled. Mark Elaine retired from his position as water treatment plant operator on August 29th, but he has been retained part-time to assist with the water treatment plant laboratory operations. Veolia Water is currently working on filling the open operator position. Just a quick update on the chlorine conversion. The Lynn Water and Sewer Commission submitted a letter to the DEP on March 31st, addressed the administrative comments that they had at that time. We have recently received a letter back from the DEP through an email on August 17th with, that contains technical and follow-up administrative comments. I've talked with Weston Sampson and Anthony Marino, and our plan is to get a response to DEP on the follow-up questions by September 30th. And that is my report.
Any questions for Rick? Okay, thanks, Rick.
Yep.
CSO update. Checking that, Dean.
I prepared an update in your package relative to the CSO program. And it outlines the consulting firms, the CSO background, a detailed analysis of what's needed, and a proposed recommendation for the engineer moving forward. Mike Wilson from CH2M Hill, who has performed the work to date, is here. If you wish to have him give you an update, he's prepared. And that's about it.
We don't need an update, do we?
You know, Tony used to fill in that role once in a while. If you wish to have an update, that's fine.
No, we don't need it. Okay, any questions?
Well,
Go ahead.
So, we have a question about what we'd like to do going forward with the CSO project, right? As far as engineering firms who would do the work, whether we're gonna go out to bid, whether we're gonna give it to a specific person, and that's something I think we should decide tonight.
Sure.
That's what I was planning on doing, when I came here. So
do you have
is this
a
the time?
recommendation, or
What's that?
do you have some idea? Or?
Yeah, well, my opinion is, that we should go out to bid. And I know that there's advantages to going with certain firms, but I know that if there's a firm that may be familiar with it, there's also CH2M Hill who is familiar with it. There's also Tony, who is working with another firm. There's also another firm who might have a fresh outlook on the whole thing. And with this, is going to be such a big project and, an expensive project.
Peter, do you understand that this is gonna slow the project down? And
Well-
we could be facing
Mr. Chairman, are
some...
you going to speak from the chair?
Yeah, I'm gonna.
We're going to follow Robert's rules, then you're going to pass the chairmanship over to the vice.
So you better think about it,
Well,
because it could be, we
Mr.
could wind
Chairman,
up with
are you gonna-
penalties.
Question of
Dave,
order.
just be quiet.
If you're going to speak from the chair, just pass it over to him.
okay.
Go ahead, I'm just
So
saying,
I'm
think
saying,
about
well,
it.
I went back and I know that, there's a willingness here to go with, a certain firm. So I went back because I remembered the last meeting, and unless I'm mistaken, there was no rush. There was conversation about looking into other firms at the last meeting when CH2M Hill was the firm that was working on it. And there were comments made about we should be using other firms, and I'm just reading here what it says, it's not something that we should rush into, talking about the preliminary design phase going into 2018. And, I don't know why things have changed. This is an opportunity to do that.
Oh, I didn't, did I say that? Who's making these comments that you're alleging? Like, do you have the name of the person who's saying that? No, it's in the minutes, there's a person who said that, like, you looked at me, I don't think I said that.
Well, everyone has minutes here. I mean,
Okay, all right.
I can read it if you want. Do you want me to read it?
No,
I'm
you
just
looked at me, I was just wondering,
No, I'm just looking at everybody.
Okay,
I'm
all right,
not
all
singling
right,
you
sure,
out, no?
sure.
Okay?
Peter.
I'm trying to look at this.
Tony, you got a question?
Well, I just have a comment,
Yeah.
and I just, being heavily involved in this for a long time, going through this process from the beginning, back since 2011, looking at what the deliverables are. I think I spoke in the past many times about the accelerated schedule that I think this program is in. And I think I need to tell the board that I am concerned with meeting the first schedule. I'm worried about it. It's 10 months away. It's a lot of work. If we entertain going through a bidding process or an RFP, you can ask Betty, it's a 2 to 3 month process. I'm extremely concerned we don't make the date. That's just my professional opinion. I've been doing this for a long time. That's a concern. I just want to express that. I can't sit idle and not say that to the board.
I respect your professional opinion, I really do. I mean, there must have been work done so far that can be passed on to the next firm, I imagine. Like, what has been done so far? I mean,
Sure there is, absolutely. Lynn is a very complicated city. It's a very highly concentrated city. There are a lot of utilities and a lot of different intersections. This is not a cookie cutter project. I'm just worried about it. I'm concerned. Whatever firm does it, I'd work with. I don't have a problem working with anybody. I'm just concerned that with the accelerated schedule, with a deliverable in 10 months, that if we go through a process of doing an RFP, I can't guarantee we get that deliverable. It's just not enough time. There's surveying that needs to be done. We live in New England. Very shortly we're going to enter the winter season. If we have to do this in December, snow hits the ground and makes it much more difficult. And I need to express that to you, the board. And that's my advice. That's my firsthand knowledge. And again, I would work with any firm, but I just think I need to tell you that.
It's been my understanding that the parties that we've been working with, EPA, DEP, court parties, whoever have been working with us to meet the schedule, so if there were unforeseen circumstances like this, I would think that would be something that they would take into account if we asked them.
Again, that's a legal issue.
Okay, so what is the unforeseen circumstances that
We don't,
no, I don't.
that we don't have the same,
One person?
yeah.
Oh, okay. I don't know if that would be considered unforeseen.
What's that?
So we lost one person, so you think that's gonna be an unforeseen circumstances to change the consent order or get relief from it? We can certainly try, that's a.
Well, if it's not, I mean, why can't we make it? If one person doesn't make that much difference, why wouldn't we be able to make the schedule?
Because we're gonna put it out to bid, we're gonna have to prepare a document, that's gonna be probably three weeks to prepare a document. Then we're gonna put it in the central register for a week or so, 8 days, and then we're gonna give the vendors probably, likely a month to put together a document, right? So that gets us to November at the earliest, likely December. We'll come back for you in December and tell you how the bids came back, and if that's, your understanding, I'm fine with that.
Walter?
That's gonna leave us 7 months, not 10.
Mr. Chairman, we're running out of time. Betty, isn't this isn't legal. We made a decision way back that we had made a decision to give this out to 3 people. And one of them was CH2M Hill. And Commissioner Ellis said that CH2M Hill was a well-qualified national firm way back then. Am I right, Betty?
If it's in the minutes, then you're right. I'd have to
And
read
not
the
only
minutes.
that, but isn't it against the records now, Sam, to go against this, this bidding?
The commission has the prerogative under the state bidding law. For engineering services, they don't need to go through the process we have. But the commission has consistently always sought engineering services under an RFP. We did an RFP and had, I think, 5 firms respond, 3 of which were ultimately rated as qualified and were selected. I think it was CH2 Hem Hill, CDM, and Weston and Sampson, each of which has been performing services. But you make the ultimate decision as to which services, which engineering firm has been performing. My understanding is on the CSO that it has been CH2 Hill. Before that, it had been CDM. I think all of the firms that responded were capable, but we decided to use the RFP process. Engineering services are one of those areas that are exempt. You've made a decision as a policy in the past to use that to select it. Now, if you want to select or open that process up, that's the prerogative of the commission, but it certainly doesn't preclude any of the firms that were working or others that haven't been working from bidding anew. I don't think that's the real issue. The real issue is whether it can meet whatever these deadlines are that were imposed on us by the consent decree and the government.
So it's against the law now.
Haven't been recognized.
No, you can have engineering services without a bidding process, but we've used the RFP process to select a firm. We've used it to evaluate by technical ability and by proposals, so that, but that's something that you chose to do. You're not required, and there are certain services that are exempt under the state bidding law. We've used those services by using the RFP process. We in fact did use the RFP process that you're alluding to not that long ago, and selected 3 firms.
That's right.
And that's where we're at this moment. We have those 3 firms. So among those 3 firms, you could decide to award work, and I think the bulk of the work on the CSO has been done by CH2M Hill. Now, if you don't want those 3 firms and you want to open it up, that again is the prerogative of the commission, and it's also the prerogative of the commission if you want to do it through an RFP or not. But right now, the history's proven that the commission favors using the request for proposals, and 3 firms have responded and been selected under that. But those are the 3 that are currently before the commission. Allocating the work there has been left to you, and it seems to me that there have been a series of votes that have awarded the bulk of the work on the CSO to CH2M Hill. What I think the engineering department is saying is they have a concern about whether if you shift to a newer firm, whether that firm can complete the task, and that's something that I'm not qualified to speak to. Engineers know what the tasks are and how much time it takes.
And I promised Peter
Chairman.
Capano, while I sat here, and I'm still sitting here, that work will be done as long as I'm here. And I'm still here, and he's still here, and that work will be done. But if we don't meet the deadlines, who's gonna pay for this? The ratepayers? We shouldn't be going out for bid right now for something. We should go ahead now and get this work done. We don't have to go out for bid.
The chair will entertain a motion to table this and let's find out what the hell's going on.
Peter, we don't need to go out to bid. I promised you, I'm gonna be with you to get that work done. It will be done.
Mr. Chairman, can
Go
I
ahead.
We don't have to screw the ratepayers.
Well,
Can we keep some decorum too? We have a sizable project to be done here. We've done them in the past when I was here. The project that we're doing is large. It's about over $110 million. to go out to bid, to use the chief procurement officer, to go out as we have in the past on projects of this size, to get the best value, is a normal thing that we do up here. The three bidder thing we haven't had until recently. We're not, as Attorney Vitale said, you're not required to do it, but it's a good idea to get a value on a project. And value is not just price, it's performance also. The time limitations of our contract, if it was an emergency, Betty tomorrow could real quick, as fast as you could, put out a bid. If she called up the state, told them what that emergency was under the procurement laws, that there's some big emergency. But there, in reality, there isn't. Yes, we do have a schedule of performance. We have time to put together. Mr. Chairman, we have time to put together a bid document. And there's no reason why we should not. We should work for the ratepayers, get a good value, get a project that works. In the past, we've had projects that don't. I think you're the ward councilor. I've sat in that position on this. This impacts, just like we're seeing around the country, the flooding impacts your ward, your people, that you get all the calls from. Do you have a motion you'd like to make?
Can I get a question, please?
Go ahead.
Betty, how long does it take for a bid, do you think?
Well, they'd have to prepare the document. I don't know if the document's been prepared. That could take a few weeks.
Yeah.
A bid has to be out for at least a month.
Yeah,
And then it would take another 2 weeks to evaluate it and bring it in, so possibly
a couple months?
September, October,
That's normal.
maybe November,
Now,
possibly December. It depends on what happens.
now Sam, if we're like 2 months behind schedule, would the DEP fine us? Can we work with them then?
Well, we've already agreed to a fine schedule in the consent decree. If we miss benchmarks, I mean, that's been sort of predetermined. There are exceptions, and I think, if you recall, when we talked about what would be required, you'd have to demonstrate to the government regulators why it is that at a date that you agreed upon, now you cannot meet. But they understood that there could be circumstances where there might be a reason for the delay. But at this point, we haven't missed any deadlines. We don't want to miss deadlines. We just want to try to keep on schedule.
Would be going out to bid be a reason to,
I don't think that that's a change in circumstance that they would probably look to as one that could have not been avoided. I mean, they're looking at, we're dealing with unknown circumstances in the ground. We're dealing with issues that might relate to climate change. They're looking at things that couldn't be foreseen.
right?
Here, they're going to say, well, you knew you had to do this project and you knew you had to get it done timely. Now, if you want to choose who to do it, again, I don't know how long it will take to make that 10-month deadline that the engineering department's talking about. But I don't know that that's a change in circumstance that would have us avoid the potential of a penalty. We certainly could put forward that we lost a key person. I mean, there are certainly exigent circumstances that could be foreseen. The question is, was this one that could have been foreseen? I don't know.
Mr. Chairman,
Go ahead, Dave.
there is no deadline. Tell me the deadline that we're going to miss in this contract by going out to bid. It's understood that everybody goes out to bid for something this size. There is no, we haven't even gotten the outline we requested on what are the deadlines. I have not seen a deadline that we're come up against.
Dave, you're the one that's always telling
I
us how
have
we're gonna
not
get
seen,
fined.
excuse me, I have not seen a deadline. Somebody wants to outline that to me, show me it in the contract right now, because you can't. This is normal that when you do a big project, you go out to bid. And taking that short amount of time, we're not going to get beat on by the enforcing parties on that.
Go ahead, Peter.
Would it be appropriate to ask, we have engineers here, what they think, if they could chime in on this for a timetable?
Not really.
No, I'm asking.
Not really. They're gonna give their opinion for their firms.
Well, I think it's something we
Well,
could
they're not gonna-
take into account. We don't have to agree with it, but we could listen to it. They might have valid arguments for or not making the deadline.
You're looking at a contract for multi-millions of dollars, and you're gonna ask them what they think?
One of them is on retainer for that purpose right now,
Is
Mr.
he really?
Chairman. Yes,
Is he really?
CMH2 Hill is on retainer for that purpose. As the engineer of record, and he can answer your question right now.
I'd like to do that, then.
All right, this is Mike Wilson from CH2M Hill. We met with Mike this morning, me and Anthony, and he's ready to discuss whatever you need.
May I speak?
Yeah, sure, of course.
Well, you're responsible to ratepayers. That's who you report to. And so.
You're telling me who I'm responsible?
You're responsible to ratepayers.
I'm asking you
I know, but I'm
about the
telling you,
deadline for the
I'm a
project.
ratepayer, but.
I'll worry about the ratepayers. That's
Sir.
not something you have to worry about.
Sir,
I'm asking you a specific question about whether you can meet the deadline or not.
If we got to work very soon, we could meet the deadline. We could put a preliminary design together in the 10 months, assuming we don't get lots of flooding, lots of snow, and 100 inches of snow this winter,
Yeah.
if that's what you're asking.
There you go, Peter.
Tony.
Peter, there you go.
So you all set?
No, I'd like to
Go ahead,
hear Tony's response.
Ask.
Tony, wait a minute.
So,
He
he
knows,
hasn't
he's
got
not-
anything. He's not with
Mr.
us
Chairman.
with
anymore.
Hill.
Point of order,
Who
Mr.
has
Chairman.
worked
He
on
can
the
ask-
project
He
for
can
the
ask
last
anybody
few
he
years.
wants to when he's here.
He's worked on the project for the last few years. I mean,
Yeah, but he's
But he's
not working for that company anymore. They all jumped ship.
I think it's
Point
disrespectful
of
not
order.
to
Point of order,
entertain
you-
I raised
comment
a point
or
of
two.
order, can you listen to my point? Is this, right now, he's on contract with us. CMH2 Hill is the engineer of record. We can ask our engineer of record that is presently under contract with us what he thinks. And this is a past contractor that has superior knowledge. He's here tonight. You can ask anybody here, if there was somebody from the community, we could take their input. DP even says we're supposed to use input from the community, business people, anybody. When we're doing this project, we can take information under federal law and state law from whoever we wish, Commissioner.
Tony, I'd like you to chime in on, weigh in on this situation as far as meeting the deadline for June of next year.
I'm not aware of the June deadline. I think there's a
July.
July
July,
1st deadline.
July, I'm sorry, July
2018.
2018.
And my understanding is that the July deadline is for a preliminary design report,
Mhm.
which, in my professional opinion, could be completed even in consideration of a couple of months, 2 to 3 month time extension for the purposes of an RFP.
Anthony, do you have a question?
I don't have a question. I 2 or 3 months to put a preliminary design together? Is that what Tony said?
Yes.
Yeah, I find that extremely ambitious.
Well, it wouldn't be 2 to 3 months, it would be at least 6 months, but, right?
If you do 3 months of an RFP, that'll give you 6 months, yeah.
Danny, what's your opinion on all this?
Oh, I put my opinion in writing, if you just read the document. I recommend, we
read
got
your
3
document,
firms.
but I want to hear it out here.
We got 3 firms. CDM was ranked the highest, CH2M Hill was ranked second, and Weston and Sampson ranked third. They all have experience with CSOs. They're knowledgeable, qualified, and competent. Tony's, it was a great loss to lose from CH2M Hill, but he moved on. His firm currently, I think, is big in California. I don't know what he has locally to do this type of work. I think he told Anthony, I don't have the people to do the work. So I don't know what we're doing now. CDM and CH2M Hill are well versed. I think they could get us over this 10-month hurdle to submit probably the $1 million to $1.5 million submittal that's due on July 31st.
That's right.
If you want to put it out to bid, it's going to be 3 months. We'll see you in December with the proposals, and we'll bring back and find out who's who. We'll go from there, and we'll basically, potentially start from
Mr.
scratch.
Chairman, I'm against putting this thing out to bid. I'm against it, and I'm against screwing the ratepayers of
Mr.
this
Chairman,
city.
point of order. Point of
I'm
order.
against screwing the ratepayers of this city.
Language is inappropriate.
Tony Anabamo left the job, he shouldn't even be in this room tonight.
Mr.
Anybody
Chairman,
can be in this room.
Well,
you should
but
be-
not as representing to get a job as this magnitude.
Peter, you're looking at close to $130 million project.
This is, I thought this was like $1.5 million right here we're talking about, right?
Design, the
We're talking
first
about
phase.
Parkland.
Look, you know, I'm looking at it like this. I want the project done as bad as anybody. I mean, that's, you know. not-
But how can you
not-
jump ship and then come back here
Walter,
and
you
try to get
Walter,
this
Walter,
job?
you gotta sit down.
We got a well-qualified man
Walter, you
here.
have to sit down, you're out of order.
It's 90% of the reason why I'm here. I mean, I like this work, I like to be involved in it, but we have a discrepancy here on the timing. You know, I don't feel comfortable, you know, with this big discrepancy. I like to see it out, and I'd like to
Well, why don't you
take
table
more.
it? Why don't we table it, and then we'll get a little more input, know what's going
I don't
on.
think we need any more input.
Make a motion.
Bill,
You wanna put it out to
Make a
bid?
motion.
I want to put it out to bid.
Motion to put it out to bid.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion on the motion? Any discussion on the motion? Go ahead, Dave.
The normal process is what we did just now. We have an engineer of record and retainer. We have a project. Every project that we have done, the SS8, the unnamed projects, they all went out to bid. We're not going a route that goes against the procurement regulations and their purpose of getting a value. Going out to bid, competitive bid, would be something that every regulator involved in this has seen in the past. It's normal course for the business. That amount of time is not going to stop. You just heard from two people that are very intimately involved with us that they have time to put together a bid without going into violation. There's nothing I know in the schedule. We've asked for a schedule to be put up so people could understand it better. If they had that, maybe staff would have understood it better. I see nothing in there that puts us in violation. For the ratepayers and what's going on right now, you can turn on the news tonight. You see people in raw sewage and all the hazards of that. We have that happening in our community. We act like it doesn't happen. We call them SSOs when they're combined sewer overflows, CSOs. And our people should be saved from that. Repetitive injury.
Call the roll.
Any more discussion on it? Any more discussion? Call the roll.
Commissioner Capano?
Yes.
Commissioner Clucci? Commissioner Ellis?
Yes.
Commissioner Prudian?
No.
And Commissioner Trahan?
No.
Mr. Chairman, can I have immediate reconsideration on the vote?
Sam, do we have to do this?
Yes.
Do we have to do the?
Make a motion for
He can have
immediate
immediate
reconsideration.
reconsideration.
I made a motion for immediate reconsideration. You want to second it, Peter?
Second.
Peter, does he have to tell you what to do?
I
Come
didn't
on.
tell him what to do. I
on.
asked Mr.
He
Chair.
asked as a, so.
As a
Okay, we have a motion
Bill,
on the
I
table.
wish you wouldn't do that, because those
I wish you
comments
wouldn't
are
do it
really
either.
out of line. If someone makes a motion, I can second it.
I know that.
There's a lot of talking out of turn here, and I haven't said anything, but don't make any comments to me like that, because I won't forget.
Okay, we have a motion on the table, secondly, in roll call.
Commissioner Capano?
Yes.
Commissioner Clucci?
Yes.
Commissioner Ellis?
Yes.
Commissioner Prudian?
No.
And Commissioner Trahan?
No.
I'd like to make a motion that we receive all correspondence from the EPA, DEP, or whatever parties as related to the consent decree.
Second.
Motion made and seconded.
Commissioner Capano?
Yes.
Commissioner Clucci?
Yes.
Commissioner Ellis?
Yes.
Commissioner Prudian?
No.
Commissioner Trahan?
Yes. You want to know what's going on? Okay. New hiring.
Bob Fennell has a memorandum in your package. We have a vacant engineer, technician / engineer position in the engineering department. We interviewed, we got 6 applicants, ultimately we interviewed 2 candidates, and Bob recommends Ms. Ashley Kiley be the candidate that we select and hire as the engineer technician. Bob could not be here tonight.
What's the wish of the board?
Approved.
Second.
Seconded.
Motion made and seconded. Roll call.
Commissioner Capano?
Yes.
Commissioner Tucci?
Yes.
Commissioner Ellis?
Yes.
Commissioner Prudien?
Yes.
And Commissioner Trahan?
Yes. New business.
Mr. Chairman, I have a question for the Chief Procurement Officer.
Yes, Commissioner.
Are you going to start immediately doing the RFP process for this vote that we had tonight?
The first process would be to receive the specifications from the engineering
Right.
department.
Are you going to start
As
to,
soon as he sends it my way, then we will solicit the RFP.
Anthony, are you going to work with our engineer of record to put those together timely?
With the engineer of record, I believe the engineer of record would probably participate in applying or submitting a proposal.
You can have that discussion with them. Are you going to put together the
Yeah,
spec?
yes,
Well, we're
absolutely.
gonna do it timely, but you can't ask.
I didn't ask you a question.
Yes, absolutely.
Danny, you got a
Yes.
question?
No, I'm good.
Go ahead.
No, I'm good.
Go ahead,
I'm
Jane.
good. Oh.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion.
Make a motion, go ahead.
Okay. I think one thing that's confusing for board members and the staff is we had asked the deputy director, who's not here tonight, to put, well, actually, we asked, and he volunteered to put together, what are the deadlines? So if we can, he's not here, so I'll put it through you. Can you ask him to, what the progress on that is, and if he needs any technical support from the engineer of record to go through that contract and see what the repetitive issues are and the forthcoming, future and past, and put together that schedule so we can all see it and understand it?
Yeah, I certainly gave it to Commissioner Capano, and I believe I sent it to Commissioner Calucci. And I think everyone got it, but I'll do it again,
Well,
sure.
I didn't get it.
I don't know.
So can,
You guys both got it,
I got
right?
it.
Right, you admit,
I got
as
it.
gentlemen?
okay, so can we, as you said, I'm glad you made the motion that we all get the same information and that the regulators give us the same information. As counselors, you understand the importance.
New business? Can we reappoint Sam Vitale as our attorney for water and sewer?
Second.
Motion made and seconded. What is it we're doing? We're appointing Sam for a new contract with water and sewer. Everybody,
Commissioner,
roll call.
What about years, duration? I mean, I'm certainly in support of Sam.
It's 5
I'm
years.
just wondering,
What's your 5 years limit?
why don't you include that in motion, just for a minute?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion, I understand that the legal counsel's contract is up at the end of November, and I want to renew his contract under the same terms and conditions as before. And so I move that the commission renew Attorney Vitale's contract with the same provisions and conditions for a term of 5 years.
Second.
Mr. Chairman, can we accept the friendly amendment, Counselor?
Yes.
Okay.
All right, we have a motion made and seconded.
okay, Commissioner Capano?
Yes.
Commissioner Tucci?
Yes.
Commissioner Ellis?
Yes.
Commissioner Prudien?
Yes.
Commissioner Trahan?
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, I just had a question to ask. On the chlorine conversion, can we get a report at our next meeting on how that's going? And if we have a time for completion or anything that's holding that up? Rick?
Yeah.
Okay. Mr. Director, can you assist him with whatever he needs to?
Absolutely, sure.
Great.
No one's holding it up. We're ready to-
Appreciate your help.
Yeah, sure, no problem.
It's very important work. Motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn. Do I hear a second? All those in favor? Aye. Motion carried.